Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. I'm doing well because today we're talking about music and we're looking at part two of that massive record haul we got. And I was just kind of taking a look at how I divided them all. And this is a pretty exciting stack. I'm pretty pleased with a lot of what we're going to take a look at today. So, do I want to delay much longer? Not too much longer. So let's get into it. First album we're going to talk about is Babylon and On by Squeeze, who are actually a newer group for me. I, without knowing it, had heard some of their music before, but never really listened to them all that much until on Spotify. I believe they were just coming up in playlists I was listening to, and then from there they get into your, recommended lists and so on and so forth. And more have been listening to more and more Squeeze. And then when I found this record as one of the choices I could grab, I was like, yeah, I will grab this one. And yeah, pretty happy to have a Squeeze record. I know there's a couple other ones that I do want to snag, but great to start off the collection like that. Next up, a couple of not greatest hits necessarily, but you'll see. This one is a massive one. This is Marvin Gaye Anthology. This is a 3 LP set. There, got your total track. Like, look at that. Look how much there is now. A lot of famous artists. I love that Motown soul sound, that R&B, but it's not necessarily the genre where I go to find out the albums, where I seek out the albums. And maybe that'll change one day, but for me, for right now, stuff like this anthology, it's a great way to get a taste of. I do have some sort of general genre samplers and some label samplers from, modern ones, Daptone. I do have, some Motown ones, a Stax one on CD as well. But this is a nice collection to get, a specific artist. This album, I believe this is the kind of the midpoint. This is a series they keep updating and adding to with Marvin Gaye's career as it went on. This one, although I believe does have a lot of cool duets as well as some previously unreleased mixes on it as well. So that's really cool. And a great companion piece to this next one, which is a 2 record set, The Best of Otis Redding. I really like that cover right there. That's pretty cool. And that's not a sticker, just it's forever specially priced 2 records, 2 discs. So that's how you know we're in Canada. Um, I finally went through and actually put that last stack now on Discogs. So that's kind of cool too. I mean, part of the fun of adding stuff to Discogs one, because then you know what you have, but it's kind of cool to see all the different versions and go, oh, this pressing that I have is, slightly unique, different cover, different record label disc or something like that. It's kind of cool. This is the one I've had on CD before, but not currently. So now I'm really happy to have this on vinyl. The soundtrack to Purple Rain, obviously Prince and the Revolution. I don't need to talk about this album too much, but I really like the actually the back design as well. Having this on vinyl, I love that floral print, that floral pattern. I mean, it really sums up Prince super well. And even as I mean, the movie is problematic at the best of times, but that soundtrack, great soundtrack. Love it, love it, love it. This record I'm happy to have in my collection, but it was a bit of an anomaly. It's a reggae album, and it's not even like the most well-known album from this band. So partly I'm like, why do you have this specific album from this specific band? Why not Bob Marley or something like that? This is the story has been told by Third World, a notable act, but more so if you're already familiar with reggae, right? They're not something like Inner Circle where you might expect people who not super into reggae but are familiar with some of their hits, like like Sweat or Bad Boys or something like that, or Bob Marley, obviously another great example of a big reggae artist. Third World, they did have some minor radio airplay later in their career, so it's weird that that's the record that I grabbed. But I was like, yeah, cool, a reggae band, I'll grab it. This one, another hit that I've never owned at all. Actually, an artist that, aside from a handful of their hits that you've heard on classic rock radio over and over and over, never had this. This is Astral Weeks by Van Morrison. Happy to grab this and actually investigate the artist more. It's an artist I've never really, delved into beyond, Brown Eyed Girl, and I think Sweet Thing is the other hit that I've heard on that and stuff like that. But yeah, happy to have this and give it a listen. So I'm pretty excited for that one. Next, actually, I believe Vinyl Martini showcased this album recently on the channel. This is Music of My Mind by Stevie Wonder. Another really cool album art piece to have on vinyl. You get a lot of that detail there. You can see more of what's in the sunglasses and the shades. Get a similar one on the back there. Really cool. Happy to have that. Again, an artist, one of those artists. I know the hits, not super familiar with more from them. So happy to grab that one as well. This is one I've had. I think actually this is my dad had this on CD. So I'm happy to have this on vinyl as I kind of edge up my own collection of this artist. This is one I've talked about on my channel previously. One of those prog rock goes into pop rock groups that took me a long time to get into. People describe them often as pastoral, which to me still reads as slow and boring. But now, I've started adjusting to that and actually really like a lot of their music. And this is the self-titled album from Genesis. Some people really like this one, some people not as much. I like maybe half of it. I really like this track Mama. That's a good one. And I also like Second Home by the Sea and Home by the Sea. Those are really fun tracks as well. So happy to have this on vinyl as I kind of slowly pluck away. Will I get their entire discography? Maybe. I mean, it's the kind of thing I could do slowly but surely as I do kind of find these albums here and there. So that could be something I do over time. Ooh, these next three, I'm pretty happy to have these next three. I guess the way I have it arranged, we're going reverse chronological. But as I've mentioned on the previous video, I'm going for like a yacht rock collection, obviously not a total collection, but some representative albums from representative artists. And I certainly have it for this one here. So not to say I'm done collecting from this artist, but I've got a good start now for this. So we're going to start with Taking It to the Streets by the Doobie Brothers, obviously with the hit track Taking It to the Streets. But you've also got 8th Avenue Shuffle on here. It Keeps You Running is a good one. And for some, Rio, ooh, I like that track. Rio's a good one. Show off that back artwork there. And now we're going back in time more. We're doing The Captain and Me by the Doobie Brothers. I like that album art. That's pretty cool. And we got like Long Train Running, Chinatown, South City Midnight Lady, Evil Woman. That's a good one. Evil Woman's a great track. There's the back there. And then we're gonna round out the Brothers trilogy Doobie with Toulouse Street. I really like the artwork on here. Totally 70s, and I'm into it. We got obviously Listen to the Music on here, but you have the title track Toulouse Street, Rocking Down the Highway, Snake Man, White Sun, Jesus Is Just All Right. And I mean, with that, 3 classic yacht rock albums, 3 classic Doobie Brother albums, another classic album. Like I told you all, this is a massive stack. Like what we got in here, like we're set for good music. And I'm pretty pumped on this. The self-titled debut from one of the, in terms of classic albums, one of the best sounding classic albums of all time that I think people need to listen to more. Obviously, this is Boston by Boston. Show off the back there. I think everyone knows More Than a Feeling, and they think, oh, that's all there is on here. But there's some roaring guitar work on here. Like, would Boston, stay as like a hard rock band? Not really. No, they would go into that AOR, feeling shift. But I think on this debut, you do have that on here that's present. But I think first and foremost, it's a hard rock album, and it sounds amazing. Oh man, this is one I've actually wanted to. This is on my like to buy list, and so when I saw this, a lot of these others, they're albums that I was like, yeah, I'll pick that up when I see it, or if I come across it for a good price, or I'll get to it eventually. But this is one that I was actively kind of waiting, and I've seen it at record stores. It's not hard to find, but kind of it's the day of the day I want to spend whatever amount of dollars on it. Now I don't have to. This is Apostrophe by Frank Zappa. I'm not new to Frank Zappa, but I don't actively listen to a lot of Frank Zappa. One of those artists where like Don't Eat the Yellow Snow, classic song. Actually, a lot of these are fantastic. No Neck Rubs In, Cosmic Debris is really good. Uncle Remus I really like as well. Just one of those artists where like, where do you dive in? I have a lot of the early stuff, like the Mother's work. I have Hot Rats. Now I have Apostrophe. Obviously, I know I'm missing, Waka Jawaka. a one size fits all. There's so many classic albums from Zappa that I don't have, that I've only had to rely on streaming platforms for, which is great. But I feel like this is how I feel about music in general. But on streaming platforms, you don't really get put in the mindset to dedicate a lot of your time and sort of your active listening power to the music to really soak it in. You know, you're not looking at the artwork, you're not reading the notes, you're not saying who played what, you know, you're not putting yourself into that time. You're not giving yourself that time either to really dedicate to that artist. And I think Zappa is one of those artists that you can't just sort of passively have on. You need to listen to it. So happy to have this album. Next one, another one that I was kind of like, I'll grab this. This is a good one. One of those, you know, on my jazz fusion journey. I think I'm set. Like, given I had already purchased some of the very classic stuff to get into jazz fusion, like Mahavishnu Orchestra. I had some Miles Davis as well. I already had Hot Rats. I'd listened to it a bunch. I'm pretty good, but this is obviously a Romantic Warrior by Return to Forever, the Chick Corea group. Um, does it say exactly who's on here? Yeah, Chick Corea, Stanley Clarke, Lenny White, and Al Di Meola. This is a really cool. It's certainly jazz fusion. It's not prog rock, but it gets talked about. That's just such a cool picture. I really like the logo design on their back, or on the back. Maybe it's on their back. Matching shirts on the back. Classic album. This one I listened to a bit too, and it's really cool. It's different. It's also fusion, but there's a lot more kind of acoustic elements, classical elements. Something to, I think, once I get a firmer grasp on jazz fusion in general, go here. This is John McLaughlin, Al Di Meola, and Paco de Lucia. Let's say Paco de Lucia, Passion, Grace, and Fire. Some of these albums that I'd never heard before, I kind of popped onto Spotify as I was listening. And this one, yeah, it's something I will listen to, and I enjoyed it, but it's got a different feeling, different vibe to it, which is pretty cool. And then the last one on the stack, another greatest hits compilation. And like I said, this is just such a stacked stack, and I was really pumped to have it. And again, you can just see how many classics there are in here, and some of them are amazing. So this is a 2-record set, heavy cream, which for me is all the cream I need. I mean, they weren't around that long, and I'm not the kind of fan of the band that needs everything. So I think, given how much is on here, you know, it's 2 records. So that's what, 6. So record 1 is 10 tracks in total plus 12. So we got 22 tracks of cream. That's great for me. I'm good for that. I'm set. And that's the stack 2 of this record haul. And again, I want your opinions. I want your feedback. What should I listen to? What should I add to this collection? What can I avoid? You know, stuff like that. I'm really pumped for all of this, though. I'm happy I found it. And yeah, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.